Am I the a-hole for calling out the bridesmaid who secretly took over my sister's entire wedding shower? Throw away because I don't want this tied to my main. My sister is getting married and asked me to be her matron of honor, which I was genuinely excited about. We've always been close, even though our lives look very different now. I'm married, have a little one at home, and most of my days revolve around schedules, grocery runs, work, daycare pickup, and trying to survive on interrupted sleep. She's younger, very social, constantly out with friends, always busy doing something. But we still talk regularly, usually once or twice a week, and I've always felt protective of her. She was my maid of honor when I got married a few years ago, and she took it seriously. She helped calm me down when I was overwhelmed, handled family drama before it reached me, and made me feel celebrated the entire time. So when she asked me to be her matron of honor, I really wanted to give her the same experience back. The wedding itself is huge. Not just a lot of guests huge, but multiple events, overlapping friend groups, extended family flying in, complicated seating chart huge. Every conversation with her lately somehow turns into logistics. Florals, transportation, dress fittings, catering tastings, timelines. She's excited, but I can also tell she's stressed. Since the bridal shower comes first, I asked her early on what kind of vibe she wanted. She said elegant. Not over-the-top luxury, but classy and polished. Something that could comfortably fit a lot of people without feeling cramped or chaotic. I asked if she already had any ideas in mind. She said no and told me she trusted me and the bridesmaids to brainstorm options for her to approve. I took that seriously. I made a group chat with the bridesmaids so we could start organizing. There were 3 others. 2 of them are childhood friends of my sister's, and I already knew them pretty well. Sweet girls, easygoing, collaborative, the kind of people who immediately jump in and help without making things difficult. The 4th bridesmaid was someone I didn't know. I'll call her Shady. From what I understood, Shady was originally part of my future brother-in-law's larger friend group. Apparently, she and her boyfriend are very close with him and his friends. Since the bridal party numbers needed to match evenly, they included her on the bride's side, and over time she and my sister started hanging out more. I didn't think much of it at first. We planned an in-person brainstorming meeting at a cafe because I figured it would be easier than trying to coordinate everything through text messages. I actually spent time preparing beforehand. I made notes in my phone with venue options, pricing estimates, possible themes, shower game ideas, and catering packages. I even looked into private dining rooms and boutique event spaces because I wanted to present solid options instead of vague ideas. The 2 childhood friends showed up right on time. Shady didn't. At first, nobody seemed concerned. Traffic happens, people get delayed, whatever. But after 15 minutes passed with no message, I texted her to check in. No response. I tried calling once. Straight to voicemail. We waited another 15 minutes before I finally said we should probably start. The meeting itself actually went really well at first. Everyone threw out ideas and talked through what my sister would realistically enjoy versus what would just look good in photos. We discussed venues that could fit a large group while still feeling elegant. One of the girls suggested a tea party-style shower, another mentioned a rooftop restaurant with private event space. I mentioned that some of the more elegant venues would probably be expensive, especially once catering and decorations were included. The other bridesmaids looked visibly nervous when money came up. Most of them are either still in college or recently graduated, and I know weddings can become financially stressful fast. I'm older and more financially stable than they are, so I offered to handle the venue costs myself if needed. I told them they could focus more on decor, games, invitations, favors, flowers, and smaller details. They looked relieved immediately. One of them even admitted she'd been panicking about how expensive bridal events can get, especially with dresses, travel, gifts, and wedding expenses stacking up already. I honestly didn't mind contributing more financially. I wanted my sister to have something beautiful, and I knew everyone else was trying their best within their budgets. About 45 minutes into the meeting, Shady finally showed up. She apologized casually and said she lost track of time. Not in a dramatic way, just very relaxed about it considering everyone had been waiting on her. We recapped everything we'd already discussed. She mostly listened while the rest of us talked. She nodded a lot, smiled, asked a couple basic questions about guest count, but didn't really contribute any actual ideas. Still, she came across friendly enough. Outgoing, sociable, easy to talk to. At the end of the meeting, we settled on a plan. I would take the lead on touring venues and gathering pricing information since I had more flexibility with my work schedule. The others would work on themes, decorations, games, favors, and overall aesthetic ideas. Everyone agreed. Over the next week, I put real time into this. I took days off work specifically to visit venues in person because pictures online can be misleading. I toured a boutique hotel with a garden terrace, a private event studio downtown, a historic restaurant with a gorgeous ballroom space, and even a renovated greenhouse venue that honestly looked stunning in person. Because I have a toddler at home, this wasn't exactly easy to coordinate. Some tours I squeezed in between daycare pickup and nap schedules. One afternoon, I was answering work emails from my car in a parking garage while trying to compare catering minimums on spreadsheets, but I wanted it done properly. I took detailed photos of every place. I asked about guest capacity, menu flexibility, parking, accessibility for older relatives, alcohol packages, private bathrooms, weather backup plans, all of it. Every time I toured somewhere, I shared everything in the bridesmaid group chat. The other bridesmaids were engaged immediately. They commented on centerpieces, discussed color palettes, compared seating layouts, sent Pinterest ideas, talked about games and welcome tables. Shady said almost nothing. Not rude, not dismissive, just absent. Sometimes she'd like a message hours later. Sometimes nothing at all. At one point, I actually wondered if maybe she just wasn't that interested in bridal shower planning. Which honestly would have been fine. Not everybody enjoys this stuff. But then something happened that completely changed how I viewed the situation. That weekend, I went over to my sister's apartment to show her everything in person. I brought printed notes, venue brochures, and my tablet with all the photos organized into folders. I was honestly excited because I thought we'd spend the afternoon narrowing down options together. When I got there, she casually mentioned that Shady and her boyfriend had stopped by earlier to hang out with her and her fiancé. I didn't think much of it initially. Then while I'm opening venue photos, my sister says, "Oh yeah, Shady already showed me these." I remember pausing for a second because I didn't immediately understand what she meant. Apparently, Shady had already pulled up all the photos and ideas from the group chat while they were visiting. Then my sister tells me that after showing her all the venue options I'd gathered, Shady started pitching an entirely different idea. A friend of hers apparently owns a massive house or mansion-type property that could host large events. Shady had photos, floor plans, layout ideas, catering suggestions, parking information, everything prepared. My sister said it would feel more private and personal than a restaurant or hotel venue. And she loved the idea. I just sat there trying not to visibly react. Because technically, my sister hadn't done anything wrong. She's the bride. If she likes the mansion idea better, obviously she should choose it. And honestly, it probably is a beautiful venue. But the part bothering me was how it happened. Shady never mentioned any of this in the group chat. Never brought it up during the planning meeting. Never suggested she had another venue option. She let me spend days researching, touring places, organizing details, pricing everything out, uploading photos, answering questions, coordinating discussions. And instead of bringing her idea to the group, she quietly took all the information directly to my sister in private. It suddenly made her silence in the chat feel different to me. Not shy. Not disengaged. Strategic. What really got under my skin was that she essentially used all my work as a comparison presentation. Like she waited until I had gathered polished options, so she could swoop in afterward with her own better idea directly to the bride. Meanwhile, the rest of us thought we were collaborating. I tried not to show how thrown off I felt because I genuinely did not want to make my sister feel guilty. She was excitedly talking through how beautiful the property looked for photos and how many guests it could fit comfortably. So I told her honestly that if that's what she wants, I support it. And I do. I want her to have the bridal shower she'll enjoy most. But internally, I felt embarrassed more than anything. I had spent so much time trying to be organized and helpful. I'd taken this role seriously because she's my sister and I wanted to do right by her. And suddenly I felt less like the matron of honor and more like an unpaid assistant who handed someone else material to present. Afterward, I kept replaying everything in my head. The lateness to the first meeting. The silence in the group chat. The lack of contribution while everyone else openly collaborated. The private visit to my sister's apartment. The fully prepared backup plan she somehow never mentioned to the actual planning group. Maybe none of it was intentional. Maybe she genuinely thought she was helping. Maybe she assumed she was saving money or offering a better option. But it honestly felt like the rug got pulled out from under me. And now I don't know what to do with that feeling. Part of me wants to confront her because it feels sneaky. Another part of me thinks bringing it up would only create tension during my sister's wedding planning, which is the last thing I want. So now I'm sitting here wondering if I'm overreacting. Was this shady behavior, or am I reading too much into it? Do I confront Shady, or keep quiet to avoid drama during my sister's wedding? Update 1. Remember when I said I didn't want to cause drama for my sister? Well, I failed. After my sister told me she wanted to go with Shady's mansion shower plan, I decided to be an adult and call Shady directly. She didn't answer. So I sent a polite text saying I had spoken to my sister. She mentioned the mansion idea, and I was just confused about how the group chat planning pivoted into a fully formed alternate event. Very calm and just trying to understand. She texted back instead of calling. She said she doesn't have a sister of her own and really wants to do this for my sister. Okay. She did not address why she didn't bring this up in the group chat. Then she added that she already has a menu planned. My sister agreed to it. She will be covering the cost, and all the bridesmaids have to do is show up and enjoy. Oh, and she plans to use one of the games we discussed in the group chat. Excuse me. So now she's throwing the shower. I know I'm not paying anything for this, so she's not looking to take advantage of my generosity. I probably shouldn't have, but I responded that this was something I had really wanted to do for my only sister, and I was disappointed I didn't even get to be part of it. Then I called my sister to explain the conversation. My sister said yes, she's good with this plan, this is what she wants, and I can just focus on the bachelorette party. If this is what she wants, fine. I will swallow it. But I felt, disappointed? Replaced? Pushed out? So I sent a neutral message to the group chat saying that Shady would be taking over the shower planning and that it would be at her friend's home. My phone rang immediately. One of the bridesmaids, we'll call her Sweetie, called me absolutely shocked because she knew how passionate I was about doing this for my sister. I explained what happened. She was upset for me and asked if I wanted her to call Shady and find out why she left us out. And here is where hindsight punches me in the face. I said sure. Sweetie calls Shady. Shady answers. Apparently, Sweetie did not love the responses she got. They argue. Shady then calls my sister. My sister then calls me. My sister was upset because there's conflict. I tried calming her down, but I ended up getting upset too, and I yelled. I did apologize. But in that moment, I realized my sister just wanted me to quietly make this work and not create waves, and I had just created a tidal wave. How did we get here? Fast forward to this past weekend. We had an unrelated event where all the bridesmaids were present, along with family, and I met my sister's future in-laws for the first time. Shady was there. She did not speak to me. Instead, she stayed glued to my sister's fiancé and his mother. When I met the future Amael with Shady standing right there, I immediately got the impression that she was annoyed with me. Curt, polite but distant. And I couldn't help but wonder what version of this story had been told on that side. I stayed near my sister the whole event. She seemed happy. Sweetie stuck by us too. But there is now this very obvious divide with Shady. And I feel terrible. I never wanted to make my sister's wedding messy. I just wanted to throw her a beautiful shower. Now, somehow, it feels political. So now I'm wondering, did I mishandle this? Was I reasonably hurt and this spiraled beyond what I intended? Because right now, I feel like I accidentally became the villain. Update 2. So the hijacked shower was this past weekend, and I have to admit, it was beautiful. Elegant, polished, and honestly better than anything I would have put together. I received an invitation like any other guest. No mention of helping, no role, just show up. A few days before, I even texted Shady asking if I could bring anything. Her response? Just bring yourself. So that's what I did. I had family coming in from out of town for the shower, so a few of my aunts and cousins met at my house, and we all drove together in multiple cars. Some of them stayed with me for the weekend. When we arrived, well, this place was something else. A massive, gated home. Like, movie-level fancy. Fountain out front, sweeping steps, pillars, the whole thing. Immediately, I was like, okay, this is not your average shower. Shady greeted us at the door, all air kisses and charm, thanked us for coming, and swept us inside like she was hosting a gala. And honestly, the setup was stunning. The hors d'oeuvres were elegantly plated, looking like art displays. It was classy, coordinated, and way more formal than anything I would have planned. I'm pretty sure she saw the look on my face too, a mix of awe and OMG. She gave this little half smile before moving on to the next guests. Whatever. I knew about half the room, my family, so I spent time catching up. I also made the rounds, introduced myself to people I didn't know, and got to know my cis future family. Cis future Amael? Polite, but still cold. I also tried chatting with Shady's inner circle, we'll call them snotty, snooty, and stuck up, and yeah, short responses. Not exactly welcoming. Fine. But then I started noticing something else. My family members seemed uncomfortable. And that is not us. We're loud, competitive, and we love shower games. Usually, it turns into chaos in the best way. This time, people are subdued, hesitant, and quiet. Meanwhile, my sister was on cloud nine. She was glowing, making her rounds, but mostly sitting with Shady and her crew. She looked like she felt like a princess. I'm happy for her. When Sweetie arrived, she gave me a look that perfectly matched what I'd felt walking in. No words needed. Then came the games. Shady led them, along with her trio. The room we moved into looked like a luxury hotel lobby. The family members that participated were reserved and surprisingly less enthusiastic. It made me more aware of the differences between the families and that many of my family members seemed like they felt out of place. Fast forward to later that evening. My sister and her fiancé came over to my house to spend time with the out-of-town relatives. Everything was typical until my future brother-in-law said something. One of my cousins casually asked why I hadn't thrown the shower. Before I could even answer, my future bride jumped in and said, "It's actually inappropriate for a sister to host a bridal shower." I was a bit shocked. I looked at my sister. She didn't react, she was playing with my kid, but I know she heard it. And I started thinking there was possibly more behind the hijacking. Was Shady placed as a mole to purposely take over the shower, so there would be a standard that would meet future BIL's family expectations? My future brother-in-law's family is quite affluent, and while that's never been an issue in our interactions before, it did make me consider whether expectations around the event may have influenced what happened. My BIL knows our family. He's been to our parties. He knows they're fun, loud, and definitely not formal. And his family? They're wealthy. Like, very wealthy. It's never been an issue before. He's usually easygoing, but he does have noticeably expensive taste. So I'm wondering, did he step in behind the scenes? Did he think what I would have planned wouldn't be good enough, which is correct? I would have planned something less formal and more laid back? And if so, why not just say something instead of this weird takeover? I'm flexible. I'm really not too upset anymore over what happened. I just have the feeling that people did shady things around me rather than just communicate. This was too blatantly weird to just happen this way. Oh well. On to the bachelorette party planning.